And you need a director right now, you need, one more of the. We need all three, finalized right now, you can, like, things that are coming up and up here, life in the wild, I all know in nature. Or, that's all. Thank you, and, I probably going to put a name on the computer. Doing that, I'll introduce you. Okay, and Gilbert little Patrick Rosas. He is the thing of ability that for an example that was reading different. There he has secured now present 9.1 million grant of funding since March last year. Okay. Under the leadership of full leadership. Previously, he worked as a energy education faculty specialist at Austin Unified School District, where he secured a $10.6 billion grant. He could use $2 billion and completed the transportation yard conversion project in less than 11 months. He is co-chair of the electric school bus advisory council at the World Resources Institute and a member of the school leadership and clean energy network at Generation 1D Solar. He is a subject matter expert on electric school bus deployment and infrastructure transition and an active member of California Fire the district studying that family university, there for industry and energy. I was former family, centers, and dedicated the day of those engines and then free your voices. Here. For code for your park hours. So please join me in welcoming Gilbert Blue Feather Rosa.
Thank you, everyone. I'm very glad to be here. Got a couple of articles, school transportation news, an article. I've been on 47 webinars, podcasts, all kinds of stuff. I'm happy to speak over them. And it's really funny because the thing I've said about this is we definitely want to kind of go through some. I definitely want to share about the 2 record deployments that I've had, plus the previous accomplishment at Stockton. Also now at Modesto City Schools, all the things that are kind of going on. But my focus really has been student engagement, getting students to actually be participants in what we're doing around here. The other is I am an advocate, and I do want to bring encouragement and assistance to all of these different things. Anywhere you are in your path, and definitely looking at green career paths. So I laugh because careers, they kind of ask, well, how did you fall into this? Or how did you get into that? Or how did you do stuff? I really think it's like the family circus cartoon, you know. It really, one thing led to another, and you went way the heck off path, and you didn't really realize how you kind of got here. I got into heating and air conditioning because my brother's girlfriend's dad ran a heating and air conditioning. So now I got into stuff. I just think that, it's not always a clear path. This is what I'm gonna do, and this is how we're gonna get there. It was really kind of strange to me because the Environmental Defense Fund actually did a podcast on me, and it's called Fastest Electric Vehicle Fleet Makeover in the West. And so a lot of these things, I'm heating and air conditioning guy. Those chargers on pedestals look like thermoses on concrete, right? All you gotta do is put a conduit over to it, have the right voltages for these things, and just make sure they get done. So I said, okay, a bunch of furnaces on pedestals, 24 of them. We gotta get all these different things in, a bunch of crews coming in, that should take about less than a year. Well, unbeknownst to me, we finished in less than 11 months, but nobody had ever done it in less than 18 to 24 months. So me not realizing and not having experience in it was an advantage because I didn't know that was right. I just went out to do it. The other thing is simply that, so at Stockton, so I'm in the private sector for almost all my life. In 2012, I decided to live closer to home. I've been traveling to the Bay Area and everywhere else to go. And so when I applied for a job at Stockton Unified called Energy Education Specialist. The bottom line for that is basically that you're going to help them save money on water, electricity, gas, and they wanted somebody who's, accomplished in all of those things mechanically to help. Because we know that campuses are like little cities, right? They have $500 million budgets, and you've got workers and school sites and electricians and equipment and vehicles and all these different things and sites that you got to do. So like I said, they came to me in 2019 and said, hey, we've got a few weeks here, we need to write a grant. So everybody should laugh at that because the grant takes 3 to 6 months to write. And you got to make sure it's all exactly the right way or it'll get disqualified. There was $10 million up for grabs in California. It's called the Clean Mobility in the Schools Pilot Program. Well, what happens typically with CARB or some of the Cal EPA or these other funding mechanisms in California anyways, is that they actually got more than the 10 million. So they got 25 million. So we came in third place. So El Monte Unified got 9.8, San Diego Unified got 9.7, and we got what was left over at 4.93. The funny part for me is they were trying to figure ways. This all happened in 2020, right before the pandemic. So in October we write it. In December we hear we're getting money, and then the pandemic hit around February, March, right? Well, they approved the money, they get it all ready, and they didn't sign the thing until like May 16th. So May 16th is our starting point. I get PG&E and I call them and I said, you gotta come out and check my plans. We're gonna break ground in October. And they said, no, one, the pandemic, we have to do social distancing and everything else. And I said, this pool's closed. You've got, you can be 6 miles apart. I don't care. Come to my site, check my plans and get it done. And so I bugged them until I finally got it done. We broke ground on October 1st. We finished the construction by December 31st. And then at December 31st, we ordered our buses ahead of time. And we had by March 23rd, we had buses there that arrived and we were charging them. So we did the commission from January to. So again, I'm on webinars talking about we're going to do this. People are always, and it's funny to me because they actually always predict before they're done. So they're talking about solar panels that they're just now putting up, yet they're at a September conference and really they didn't go online for December anyway. So we called our shot, we said it was going to happen. And I'm on webinars with people like Uber buses, Terra Bus, CEOs, all these different people. And I said, the guy goes, yeah, it's been 2 years, not 8, not 11 months. And so, again, on the webinar circuit, I just like talking, so I was just telling people what we did, and they were all up and running and doing well. So, as she had mentioned, by getting $5 million in buses, we did 4 fast chargers and 20 AC level 2 chargers. We built a system of 24 chargers in anticipation that would be enough for our fleet. At Stockton, the fleet was 92 buses. Stockton's the 15th largest district in the state. And so They have 40,000 students. It's a big deal. I didn't realize that because I was thinking I want to go somewhere else and move up a chain. Well, there's only 14 other districts that are bigger. Most of them are down south, and LA has like, a million people around, 2 million students. So nobody wants to come island. So anyways, we finished it. It's working. Everything's up and running. We ended up getting 2 other grants. And so CEC money and whatever. I will describe doing the process like spinning plates. And also the electrification, if you look at it, roadmap is like highway. You're saying I'm on this side of the road and I want to get to that side of the road. The problem is the road you're talking about is an autobahn. So when are you going to decide to run across the road safely and get it done? So instead of running across and taking a chance, I say that you build a bridge over the road. And the bridge that you build is getting hold of your district support, who is your champion. The utility company, you get with them early. You have people like Electric School Bus Resources, CTE, Center for Transportation and Environment, World Resources Institute. There's all these different people that are resources out there. You look online, you go. And then again, who's going to write your grants? Who can figure out your financing options? Who's going to construction management? California, you can't have the same guy design it that puts it in. It's conflict of interest. So again, how do you do all these things and pay all these people? The other thing is it bus supply. Who's going to get through on time? And they talked about, because this is all relatively new, you order buses or pieces of equipment and they're all going to talk to each other. Except they all talk to proprietary protocol, and it doesn't really talk to each other. The voltages are different. Yeah, you have to work with it. You ordered 4 DC chargers, they're sitting there, been there for 6 months. The buses show up, they go to plug them in, they're like, it doesn't, what doesn't fit? It doesn't work. And then all of a sudden you have people go like, oh, we tried it with the 2nd generation, you bought the 1st generation. And I'm like, well, I need the generation that we take kids on the bus right now, let's get it done. So you have to figure out a lot of different things. And like I said, PG&E for 2.5 years was on hiatus, yet I told them there's nobody to talk to be next to social distance wise. You can work from home, just come from home and go investigate my place. The other thing we did was we had a warehouse. And so they said, you have to wait to get your power from a separate source. At PG&E, you can't hook up to a NEMS meter or solar right now, that was the point of solar, right? Was so that we could have cheaper power and not be able to use it. But PG&E's already fought that battle and said, you can use it on the site, you just can't use it with your charger. They gave us an effective rate. They can use it on the rest of the campus. You can use it on the rest of the campus to offset your bill, but you can't offset the bill on your chargers. The buses. Now, the thing that they did, and again, it's talking semantics and playing the right games with them and say, okay, what can we do? And if we can't do this, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? Then you end around and get right back where you want to go. You have to find a way. And there are plenty of ways that I found a way. Otherwise, we never would have made an 11-month time frame. Let me give you a couple of ideas about the differences between Stockton and Modesto. These are the time frames that I was there: 15th largest to the 25th district, 40,000 to 30,000, 11 buses versus 30 buses. Modesto is committed to buying 30 buses in their own. 30 buses is half of their fleet right off the bat. That's why they recruited me and wanted to come. The deployment time was about 10.5 months. We thought we would be 7 months and be smart at Modesto. But the supply chain issues are hitting everybody. So we're going to be right at that 10, 11 months, same as Stockton. The only difference is we're committing half of our fleet to be changed out in the first year. AC chargers, we had 20 versus 30, 4 DC chargers versus 2. That just gives you an idea of what it was. We brought the same team together from Stockton to Modesto as far as Schneider Electric, Sage Energy Consulting, the bus manufacturer, mobility hospital, charge management, all the same people. The difference is for Modesto Irrigation District now, who we have our power from, and Turlock Irrigation, Walthamy being one of them, or others. This is the summer blitz. So to show you what happened, I get there on March 14th. Board approves the purchase of the construction agreement on April 19th. I have from March 14th until June 1st when they break ground to secure a grant. So like crazy to get the grant, we get it approved, San Joaquin Valley will do it, and we finish it. And everybody that's written the grant knows you can't do part of the project before you get the funding approved. So we had to have the ink dried and signed. We did $4.2 million. Not saying they were happy about it, but that paid for my salary and benefits for the next 20 years. So they're pretty excited about the 4.1. The cool thing was Schneider Electric, we told them we want to make a record and we want it done as fast as possible. So that, the one on the left is actually a picture of the parking lot. They took down some light poles. August 1st, the solar panels were up. Trenching was done. We redid all the concrete. Everything was ready to go. The thing we didn't do was pull wire or have some of our panel boxes which are on backward and disconnect boxes and some other stuff. We had a lot of electrical issues. We're working on right now. It's still being done. But the reason they had to be back up and running is because those are diesel buses underneath that solar canopy. And now we have to get started a week later. We were running school on August 8th. Kids were there. So we had to get it done. So they literally had chargers, solar panels, all this stuff in the warehouse there. Most people were going to break ground so we could make this time. You know, cost per mile, if you look at 10-year cost per miles, that shows the breakdown. So it shows that the battery electric buses cost you for operations and mileage about 60 cents a mile. Diesel buses are $1.98, and that's figured at $4.50 per diesel. Now that we're at $6.50 and $6 plus, we look like geniuses because it's going to be that much more. So basically what I'm telling you is we are saving $1.38 every mile we run a bus, and buses typically run 20,000 miles. So you've got lots of money that you're saving just right off the bat. I had just shown that this is why we do this. It's kids at the different yards. The ones in the center are my grandkids. The ones on the right is my grandson Landon, who actually came out during this summer when we were doing all the construction. And I told him he was my interpreter. As long as he could speak student with me, and what I was saying, he understood. Well, then I knew I could do it to other kids and kind of show them the same. I paid him in Burger I am, so it's a great trade. So the two claims to fame that I have are doing two of the fastest deployments in history for electric school bus conversion. And the larger district only wanted to do about 12% of their fleet. Modesto City Schools is now doing half their fleet in one job. Just like during the pandemic in LA, when you stop running the vehicles back and forth, the air clears up. When a smoker stops smoking, their lungs clear up. It's very important. You can get into all the issues of the batteries and removing lithium batteries or whatever, and the full cost of how to dispose of them later. That's not my gig. My gig is I'm a project manager that gets done right away. A school district I just went to, I went and found $90.1 million in the first 9 months I've been there. We're way ahead of construction. And this isn't the only sustainability initiative that we're doing. We have sustainable outdoor learning environments, 40 by 50 canopy. It's an outdoor classroom. The last one that was done in Thousand Oaks, California, where they have one. And it was a good idea before the pandemic hit. Now the pandemic has come, it's an even better idea. We've committed to doing 6 of those classrooms. So we have 6 under construction. They'll be done in the next month and a half. We have mean green mowers, riding lawnmowers that are battery powered. We have electric gators, all the work we do around the campuses. Now we don't have to deliver gas up to these sites. Now we can rely on battery electric power. We can worry about our own infrastructure. You know, I said before, it's not that I don't hear the issues about batteries. It's that right now my focus is getting the technology and proving the theory that it can be done and done right and saving emissions. You know, the air is not going to just clear up around some kids. It's going to clear up around the whole community. We've taken half our diesel buses off the road as of August of this coming year. So yeah, I mean, that's just a big thing to push for. So what I'm doing right now is going to ask me, well, don't you worry about batteries? No, I'm finding spray glue and I'm spray gluing myself. I'm grabbing as much money as the Biden administration will put out there because that's my job for my district. So I think I praise God for all those people that are going to figure out how to dispose of batteries and all the long-term whatever. But this was the task that we are assigned, and these are the things that are being done. That's my sphere of influence. I do want to talk to everybody about, again, it's green career paths. Nobody can say they're a quote expert on anything other than they claim that I'm a subject matter expert. And it's funny to me because I'm an expert on grant writing. Well, I was the last person that wanted to be on the grant. You know, the color of the M&Ms matter. And so a lot of you here are not all the WANLs, the white people that are in whatever. I don't go down that road, but I do realize that representation is important. Long term, they won't keep inviting me to council. I'm not entertaining, I don't have something good for them to know, and I don't bring something to the table every time. But what is good is we now have opportunities. But it is kind of silly for me that the persons that worked on my job, they said, well, do you have a woman commissioner elected we can bring? And I said, the guy's on my panel because he worked on the job. I would like to meet the quotas of what you're looking for, but the real fact of the matter is, this is who worked on the job. If they're given a choice and they have opportunities, I think that's all of us want. We're not looking for reverse discrimination. And so, again, I don't know. I just want to use that as an encouragement, telling people these are new industries. They're looking for social justice. Modesto is the same in economic footprint as Stockton is. It's an 82% disadvantaged community, as described by Cal Enviro. That means 80% of the population around here lives below the poverty level. And as we learn from just watching all the statistics and everything else, richer kids in more affluent neighborhoods can have their parents take them to school. People that are on the lower socioeconomic scale have to take what is given to them. They live where they can afford, and they have to take the mode of transportation that they can afford, and that's it. No other choice. So in my mind, we may not have a lot of money, but we got enough money to use the footprint or model that Modesto or Stockton has used throughout the country to change this over. Pick a deserving, disadvantaged community and improve their work. All I'm trying to do is get stuff done in a quick economic way, makes money sense to people so that it is a good investment. And I don't care the political nature of Republican or Democrat. We're trying to fix the air around our kids, and I think that's what's most important. My political affiliation has nothing to do with my ability to, but I think it's important for us to have champions. I don't need any more awards. I'm old enough in my life where all the trophies just sit on the shelves, and I cleaned out my parents' garage before when they passed away. So we don't need any more trophies. We need are safe paths that other people can follow. I look at this like the Oregon Trail. You take a long move with the Donner Party, and they read about you in history. You do the right thing for the right reasons, and people will be the door to your path, and they will help you every way they can. We need venture capital. We need to be busy in this country on the things that are right, not on the things that divide us. I really think that that's a lot of what I have. I can give you particulars and answers. Anything you have, I'm not sure how much more time we have.
Well, actually, we were here till 4:15, but yeah.
Okay, so I can literally answer questions about anything you want.
How much has that company quality board that supported?
To the tune of over $6 million. So we got that first grant I told you was $4.2 million for infrastructure. The second grant for the second half of what we're doing on the south side by the transportation work, 1.95. Trust me, there's a whole bunch of hoops and things that I got to do, but those guys were great help and assistance. I worked with them in Stockton. They know me. You know, the thing that you find out is people say that you get lucky. I like that because lucky is better than good. You think you're good, and there's a lot of pressure on you. I'm not good, I'm lucky. But I'm going to be lucky consistently, and I'm going to get it done on time and right. If people want to invest in people to help them out, nothing against El Monte Unified or San Diego Unified. They tried to figure out for a year during COVID all the things of how they could, you know, the procurement process was a while. You got to get buses ordered, you got to do all these different things. They want to figure out how to get advances on advance. My tactic was if I build it and pay for it in less than a year after a 3-year grant, I'm a good investment. People are going to want to put more money in. Not only that, if you do something faster, quicker, and better than anybody else has ever done, you'll be amazed at how many friends you have that are influential. They want to put their name on it. WRI, World Resources Institute, got a grant from the Bezos Foundation because they particularly got things done and helped with through stuff in third world countries. And in America, their main focus is electric school bus initiative. and getting this done. People want this to happen. And I found in my experience that they are very helpful because they want to be successful. I think if you go out there and do things the right way, that people see that.
More class growth. That means it's solar panels.
Concrete pad out in the middle of a lawn area or somewhere out there on the site where the schools to Wallerly or the right, the Rory, Davis. And so there's 6 of them that we have, and you can look on my website, and they've got it on. And I've got some information. Yes, and so there are outdoor classrooms that school can use for whatever they want. Any classroom that wants to do it. We're still going through curriculum, but Schneider Electric is one of these partners that was up there. And what they do on it is they have a girls and steam thing that they help with. And I'm also working with Jeff Rivera with Merced Union High School. And he's got a thing with this group from the Academy. So they're working with women who have, human trafficking issues to show how women can be empowered to go to school. Over there, most people don't go to school, especially kids, especially women. And so to give them advantages where they can take some of our courses and do that online or learn about STEAM, it will change the lives. I've done a few mission trips to Thailand, for example. We've got there, it's horrible. Anything you can show to make have them develop a business, it makes economic sense. It's a much better reason. Yes, and Media Education is one of our partners, and they do outdoor classroom furniture. And so it stacks, it goes well. There's a fence around it. There's plugins, there's monitors and stuff like that. A fan in the middle of it. It's not watertight, but it definitely is an outdoor classroom that they can use for much of the year. Yes, sir.
How is the economic analysis? How is the overall this getting most of the time?
Yes, well, here's actually why Modesto doesn't pencil out, because most of the PG&E territory or SoCal Edison or anything else is much more expensive. I think they have a lot less than utilities. Downside of that is at Stockton, in rebates for the chargers, I got something like $426,000. Here I'm getting $10,000 or $15,000 charger, and it doesn't, or $5,000 charger. It doesn't pencil out because they don't have as many high rate. They don't have as many services. They have S-chip. PG&E has S-chip things and all kinds of programs for finance on all kinds of stuff. But to answer your question more specifically, any area throughout the country can make it cost effective. The other thing is there's a side benefit of talking about. Even if it doesn't pencil out number for number or dollar for dollar, it's about the atmosphere. It's about the environment around your kids. It's about you can debate global warming all you want if you want to. But I know for a fact that we have lots of old diesel buses that are on the road that they can just keep running, they keep going. And the longer they do that, that makes good money sense. It makes that environmental call. We really do have to find ways to do that. The Zig Ziglar quote that I throw around all the time is, if you're not willing to sacrifice for what you want.
And
Or interview, yes. But more specifically, again, you have to look at what the true cost of those things are. Some of the costs are environmental, not just a pure dollar per dollar. So the answer is yes, economically, there's not as many, the upfront costs. If you're paying, I'm paying $455,000 for a bus the way I want it. Diesel bus would cost me $135,000. So what you got to look at on the tail ends, it's 2 to 3 times more money. And how do I justify that cost? How do I finance that cost? They're willing to finance solar and all these other things in PPAs. And there's a company called Highland Electric that will, for Maryland County, I think in Maryland, Montgomery County in Maryland, they finance but it's gonna be like $194 million. Because over the next 20 years, they're gonna replace them and do that. And oh, yes, but again, it's still gonna cost you. Problem is gonna be that, the good and bad of California is that we're change makers. The bad of it is sometimes we're making changes that we can't afford, that don't really exist, and we're legislating it instead of figuring out whether or not we can really do it. And an example, a prime example, we outlawed anything over 75 decibels for blowers and landscaping equipment and all that in Davis. You couldn't have a contractor. Problem was nobody made one way back when they did it, like 7 or 8 years ago. So we can want it to happen and force it and legislate it to happen, but there are economic repercussions involved at home, supply chain issues and all that. I'm sorry, I took some medication.
Love that.
Are there any more questions you want that I can?